And now, please welcome Colin Maclaurin.
Thank you for that welcome. So this is Caroline. I'm not sure if the viewers know you today.
It depends if they watched the singing before or not. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Caroline's very involved here. Been here longer than me, actually. And yeah, we're going to have a chat today about relationships from a Christian perspective. And it's something we've chatted about a fair bit in person beforehand, isn't it?
Definitely.
At various times, so hopefully it'll be good. And so what is your relationship status, Caroline, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, I'm married with children. I think there's a show called that or something, isn't there? So I'm married with 2 young children and, happily married for nearly 14 years this year. So
14 years?
Yes, which is amazing to be able to say that.
I didn't realise it was that long.
No.
So the kids are...
5 and 2. So, 2 little girls. So they're beautiful as well, Sienna and Grace.
Awesome.
Yes.
So you're ahead of some of us. And I'm sure there's many viewers and others watching that are much further ahead in age or experience. But has anything changed, since you were, say, 21? And were you like many of us that hoped to meet a nice person one day?
Oh, absolutely. I think things are constantly changing, and it's totally. I mean, chalk and cheese. I think with all that experience and your perception of yourself, perception of relationships, what they really are made up of, as opposed to the idealized view of, relationships and what love is. And actually, we were fortunate to be remarried a 10-year anniversary by Des again, and he spoke beautifully about the inclusion of God in a marriage and how it's really a 3-way situation, and that changes everything. And I kind of spoke about afterwards about how it's different actually renewing your vows as opposed to getting married the first time, because you know what you're in for and you know what it actually takes, and it's actually probably even more significant because you are really in it, and you're in it with God and you're in it with each other and you're committed. And I think when you're going into it, you really don't know completely what you're in for. And not that it's bad, it's just different than what you expect oftentimes.
What does it really look like in practice to say that it's you, him and God, like in the relationship?
Well, I think it changes everything because, for one, it changes your view of yourself and you're more accepting of yourself. And to accept someone else, I think you have to truly accept who you are, warts and all, the good, the bad and the ugly. And then you can do that for somebody else as well, because I think if you have a false view of yourself and that you're all that and they're not necessarily, then that's when people have problems, that everybody's there to serve them. And it's not that way in a relationship at all. It's you both got things to contribute, and you both got things that need improvement in a relationship, and God is so much the centre of that, because if you involve him, he hopefully helps you along that path to do that.
So that unconditional love from God is a really
absolutely
key step, because you can accept that you're flawed, but also accept that you're made in the image of God. That's amazing as well.
Absolutely, and that you're completely loved to the point that he would die for you. And this is the creator of the universe, loves you that much. I mean, when you get that, you really get that. It changes everything, and it changes how you view yourself, and then it changes how you view other people. Like it says in the Bible that we're to love others as we love ourselves, which first implies that we love ourselves. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to love yourself. And truly love yourself, not just an idealized view of who you are or you should be, but no, this is me. This is as good as it gets, and I'm loved and I'm okay.
Yeah. So what about, let's say someone's 18 or 25 or something, and they have a very idealized version. They really like to meet someone. They're single. They're maybe a bit lonely sometimes. Is that idealized hope for that amazing love? Is that realistic or?
Yes and no. Sorry to be vague, but I think if there's something I could have told my 18-year-old self was, one, to get okay with yourself and who you are with God and that relationship first, to pray about it, and to come up with things that were negotiable or non-negotiable. I know that sounds funny, but what are really important, and I think they should be core values, those sort of things, because, it's nice to have a nice looking guy but if he's not in the same I don't know. It's not that you don't have a good-looking guy, but you've got to have things that aren't negotiable. And if you have somebody that is, all the physical things, but they aren't the other, then that's not going to work either. And if they're all purely emotionally right for you, but you aren't attracted to each other, that's not going to work either. So it has to be kind of a blend, and you have to figure out which ones are your non-negotiables. For me, how they treat other people is a big one as well. People that they don't need to be nice to, that's always a good sign if someone's a nice person. And I think everyone, at the end of the day, you need to be best friends. I think that's really key too. And you don't know what that's going to look like. Don't have a picture of how it should look. I think lose the picture and just figure out who you are and what you need and the person that's going to work well with you. I don't know.
So you have some clear musts, but then not an exact picture. Yes.
Don't have a picture of what it's going to look like. You know what I mean? What they're going to look like, what they're going to do. A lot of people have, the wrong non-negotiables. They have to earn a certain amount of money, or they have to look a certain way, or they have to have a certain occupation. But those things aren't the things that matter to God, and they shouldn't be the things that matter to us. And often we buy into society's lie that you can have everything. You know what I mean? And I think that's wrong. I think you need to have what God values, and then you'll be happy because He knows what makes us happy.
There's a great text. Was it about Saul saying that people look at the outer appearance, but God looks at the heart?
Absolutely, and the things that we value are not the things often that God values, and it should be that way. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know if that helps.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else to ask. Is there another point you'd have? I mean, I know some viewers listening are older perhaps, and I don't really know what life's like. Maybe some marriages are stagnant and like, it's so-so, or maybe there's divorced. Well, of course there'll be divorced people watching, which sadly happens a lot.
It does. I'm sure my husband won't mind me saying, but he was divorced before we married each other. Obviously before, hopefully. And so obviously, and the other person wasn't as committed as he was. Whereas that's one of the things I have admired most about him is his commitment. So that's another key thing, is that they have to be as committed as you are. It's not going to work if you're both not committed, because every marriage has ups and downs. Every marriage has good times and bad times. But if you stay close to each other and stay close to God and, are kind to each other, I think kindness is really important in marriage, because we all need kindness. Let's face it, important in life. So,
Sure.
And so just find someone who's really into you, basically, as a person, and knows who you really are. Not, again, they're into the right things, not just superficials as well, which is really important.
Sure. I know something interesting that you have said, that makes the last question or two, is what you think's going to be the best thing can change over time. Like, I know you've said that your kids are the best thing in life for you.
Oh, the most amazing thing ever. Most challenging thing ever too, but most amazing thing I've ever done in my life. And I don't, and completely change. I have completely changed my view on everything. God, not least of all, actually, because I realised how much I love them with my imperfect, love. And God has perfect love. So how much must He love us? And it totally changed even that relationship to another level for me, because I just realised how much we are loved, and obviously the miracle of the whole thing as well is just incredible. So I think each phase brings you closer if you let it to God and to understanding, where He wants us to be in life and what's important.
Thank you. I find that insightful, because I don't tend to think of the future kids thing, but I look forward to a future wife. But it's interesting that that could become just such a value, the kids, and that's how God sees us.
Well, one more thing I just wanted to say about that, because I remember Des lent me a book when I had just had Sienna, our first child, and it was by Spurgeon, and it was I think it was called Makers of the Home. So it was quite an old book, and but I remember reading something in it that just really kind of hit me between the eyes, and I thought that's a beautiful thing to tell kids when they're growing up is, think about the kind of parent that you're going to be and the things that you have to tell your children about your life. And I think everyone would live completely differently if they did that. You know, it was such an amazing thing to think about, and it's quite an obvious thing, but it's a beautiful way to think about things. So for yourself, you know, think about what you want to tell your children about how you lived before them, and it does change it. You know, it's incredible. And I know, being a parent, you think, I have to tell them someday about those things. I wasn't always that clever, so I think it's really a good thing to remember.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for the chat.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure, Colin.
It's given me things to think about, and I hope that you listening have been inspired as well, whatever stage you're at. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
To help you understand God's Word in a whole new way, go to goodnewsunlimited.com. You can sign up there to get your free devotional delivered to you each day. This program has been paid for by the partners and friends of Good News Unlimited. Word spreads fast.